sit because as someone who literally tripped over her own feet this weekend, I don't think that I have the coordination to hold this mic and stand and hold my papers. Thank you to everyone for having us here. I am also a poet, and I am also going to jump right in. Or actually not. I'm going to give a little bit of a warning. I, in August, did something with Tupelo Press called the 30/30 Project, where they have poets write a poem a day for 30 days to raise money for their press so that they can publish the really beautiful poetry collections that they publish. So I did that, and if you're not a poet, writing one poem a day and then putting it on the internet is like torture. Because usually the process of writing poems is the torture part, but this was just the putting it out there. So I'm going to read some of the poems that I wrote for that. They haven't been read before, and also I didn't bring my glasses because of hubris. So excuse me if I stumble over them. But anyhow, so we'll get started, and these are all poems that I wrote for that 30/30 project. Boy returns to water to wash sand from his feet. Flame, vein, fissure. The lightning strikes a nearby pier and electrifies the shore, shocks his body to still. And you wonder why I'm so afraid of living. When the sky opens up to remind us that no, the vast Pacific is not impenetrable. It isn't just what cuts circles in the water around you that you should fear. When 3 commercial jets come down in a summer. You tell me that it's safer than barreling down a highway, but the sky wants you to know it is not your heaven. It will rain on you however it can until you begin to understand. It will tell the ocean to rise toward the clouds and swallow your beach house. It has sacrificed your son. You should have painted blood on the jam. I opened my artery and sugar poured out. Lucky I'm childless, lucky cyst-riddled, lucky to know so well what's got my number. In the mountains, the trees bend like spinsters, brows branching their fingers to the dirt. Lucky what struck here was sickness, slow and grounded in stone. With these one-day poems, I had to turn to Google News a lot, which is maybe the least poetic muse, but it kind of works. So if you recognize these headlines, it's because I stole them from the AP. Origami-inspired self-assembling robot crawls by itself. Time-lapse blossom, swell and fold, rise up and render yourself useful. Clumsy crab shuffle across the table of your making, foolish fixture to think that simply pulling your panels together could be enough. A dance, a pittance, a street corner and an upturned cat. Come see the magic metal lily, watch it crest and fall. Every movement like breathing, miraculous, forgettable. Gemini. A 2-headed dolphin pup washed up on the shore, pink heads split like legs opening, 2 dead mouths smiling where I expected feet, a single fin stiff with weeds. Conjoined couplet, color of nail beds, early melon. Be sure there are as many horrors in the ocean as there are on land. I can't stand to think of you alive for even a moment after spilling out into the salt water, struggling to swim while your mother made the grim decision to leave. I hope you were gone long before then, hope holding each other close in the womb, inverse of the ocean, warm, shallow, and sugar sweet, a chorus of blood and breath sung you to sleep. This is another headline poem. Is the universe a 2D hologram? The news today. A young girl lost control of the Uzi she was firing. Pink shorts pointed toward the target, weapon cradled in arms spindled and racked with growing pains. The kickback sent the barrel skyward, bullets catching her instructor. The girl's parents captured the whole thing with their cell phones, a memento for the rest of her life, reminder that she ended one. In Missouri, a row of roses laid out like tracks over the blood-stained street, a silent city in England splitting open like spoiled fruit. Everywhere, there are children who aren't children anymore. So too, physicists want to know if the lights outside our reach aren't real after all, if possibility is a trick of the eye. Wouldn't it be a comfort to know the universe is not what we've accepted, that it's only a scatter of refracted light, that we can touch the edges like we can finger a sunspot reflecting off a lake? Sinner Hill. Moon lilt, sloping to the shore, tonight the lake is quiet as a glass of water set by the bed. Midnight thirst, throat smoked like straw catching, matted grass pulsing like tongues underfoot. Are you here? Is it quiet? Can I tell you now, there are bodies sunk in this lake. Let me show you the chimney ghosting 10 feet deep. Before I came to the water, I was told a man wrapped in barbed wire was thrown from the bridge. Even the most beautiful things are full of our blood. This holler is heavy with sacred stones and broken glass. Its mud was once a valley. I'm trying to tell you, a body is never its body for long. Pseudocyesis, which is if you have a false pregnancy, which creates physical symptoms that make you think you're pregnant and carry out the pregnancy, and in a shocking amount of instances also fools the doctor. So, pseudocyesis. I carried grief in my belly for 9 months, breasts swollen with milk. I heard a heartbeat where there was none but my own, saw a blinking presence in the salt lake of my abdomen. It wasn't a mystery to the doctor who sliced a smile across my lap, who told me about a dog nursing a row of stones. Nature plants its ghosts inside us sometimes. Still, at night, I sing lullabies to the empty air. And this is my last poem. Oh wait, that's not true. These are my last 2 poems. This one is called House People. A weekend spent sleeping in, repotting herbs in the backyard in a late summer storm, constant, gentle. We try to teach the dog not to be afraid of the wet grass that needs cutting, not to chase the outdoor cat who languishes on a patio chair for most of the day when he's not slipping through the neighborhood, drinking from puddles. The only one of us unencumbered by bricks, he lopes home like a drunk, scratched up from a fight. He disembowels a nest of birds and brings one to my feet. His indifference is bloody and insinuating. No matter how tightly we've woven the twigs, we are not safe here. This is my last poem, and it's called Hometown. What we called love, I call a dead jellyfish crusted in gray gold Atlantic sand. Something children toss at each other once the birds have carried off the poison, long ribbons dripping with salt and venom. What was touch is the length of the Blue Ridge Mountains tubercular spine. How a park bench in November was your hand, each unrelenting plank refusing to give. How my body looked elsewhere for softness, to the black dirt, the ryegrass, finally, the ocean. Middle Tennessee reached for coastal Carolina in the bed of my truck. The tidal hush of feet in an empty house. I never understood ownership until I left you. Then everything was mine. The old mattress tucked into a back room, mine. Mine, the small collection of flatware, the rotting deck, the salt in my nostrils, mine, mine. When I walked the shoreline searching for the jagged cut of a dorsal fin, I found one, a 6-foot shark circling the breakers, and then she too was mine. Thank you.